for this week's edition of the Q&A with S.Chablis, and this week we've got a beautiful article from Belgium and a question from, two questions from Pierre, who actually sent me this article from the Belgian press, and this is basically an article about the weather in Burgundy this year and how it's going to impact the quantities and how the quantities are going to have an impact on the prices. And there's a weird link in this article because they talk about price and quantities, which I'm fine with. We've already talked about that, and there is a really close link between quantities and prices and weather conditions. And then they state some names, some wine growers, some domains, some négociants, some merchants who actually invested abroad. And in the questions I'm sent, the link is even going further, and I do agree with Pierre. It seems in the article that the growers actually invest in California, in South America, or in Eastern Europe to compensate the lack of quantity, which up to a point is fine because they're going to make other wines. But it could be understood in another way, meaning that this investment is to make grapes in sunnier conditions and then importing the grapes and making Burgundy wines with grapes that are coming from outside Burgundy. Now, the question Pierre is asking is, can you actually make a Chablis with grapes that you've been importing? No. Let's be very clear on that. Chablis and all Burgundy wines are AOCs, so you can't do whatever you please. If you lack quantities, then tough. You've got to deal with it. You can't just import grapes from California or South America or from Eastern. You couldn't even import grapes or buy grapes in the south of France to make Burgundy wines. So the delimitation is very clear. To make a wine from Burgundy, a Bourgogne, you need grapes that are coming from Burgundy, from Bourgogne. If you want to make a wine from Chablis, you've got to have grapes and Chardonnay grapes that are from Chablis. That can seem a tough rule, but that's the way it is. Again, an AOC is controlled. There are rules, there are plenty of exceptions, but that's not an exception. Grapes have to come from Chablis for Chablis or from Burgundy for Burgundy. And that rule is really there to guarantee customers that what they are going to buy and drink is coming from that region. Then, have the prices of Chablis already gone up? And is this a trend that has an impact on actual vintage? To be perfectly clear, I've already received letters or mails with new prices stating that because of the weather conditions, the prices have to go up as usual, maybe a bit more than usual, and in some cases, no news at all. So some prices are going to stay basically where they are. We've already made the link, because we've already talked about the 2016 vintage, that weather conditions have an impact on quantities, and quantities might have an impact on prices. And the bad news is, previous vintages were actually quite low in quantity. So whenever you're going to have big problem, that surely is going to have an impact on prices. And you could think that, well, you know, wine growers, easy life, plenty of money, and that's just an alibi to increase their prices. It's really not. And trust me on that. They didn't take those decisions very easily. They've met with their accountants, their banks, because that's the condition of a company. And if a company whose job is to make wine can't make wine, they don't make money. If you don't make money, you can't have employees. So what do? Do you just lay them off? Or do you find a solution to keep the business somehow going and to keep those people working? So again, not an easy solution. Some of them are taking a decision to increase their prices. Some others decided to stay at the same prices. We'll know more by probably next spring, when the 2016 are going to come into the market. And yes, it has already an impact on the 2015, just to make sure that this increase is going to be diluted over several years. And again, to make sure that it's not going to be a crazy increase in 2016. I hope that answers your questions. I'll see you again next week. If you have any questions by then, do send them. Bye bye.